committed to serving you. This is Fox 24 News at 9. Your life, your news.
In exactly 3 weeks, concealed carry will become legal on Arkansas colleges and university campuses. But the University of Arkansas is saying not so fast. Good evening. I'm Hillary Hunt. This afternoon, U of A's Chancellor Dr. Joseph Steinmetz sent an email to the entire student body. Since the Arkansas State Police have 120 days to develop an enhanced certification training program, handguns cannot be carried on campus until that enhanced certification process is available. Here's a portion of Dr. Steinmetz's email to the students. We will inform the campus when that process is complete and before implementation of those laws begin. In the interim, we've developed a new online resource to help answer your questions and better explain the new concealed carry laws as they will apply to our campus. You can read Dr. Steinmetz's letter in entirety on our website, fox24news.tv. Act 562, which forces Arkansas's public universities and colleges to allow concealed carry handguns, was sponsored by Representative Charlie Collins. Shortly after the email was sent to U of A students, Collins posted this tweet. I believe Act 562 will help keep you safer on campus. Let's deter some of those who might choose to murder our loved ones. His tweet was in response to a student who said supporting the NRA has consequences, and that student is about to spend 4 years facing them. An amendment to Act 562 was also passed by lawmakers, which bans concealed carry in several places across Arkansas, including the University of Arkansas for Medical Science. All UAMS facilities are exempt from concealed carry. This applies to the main campus at North and College in Fayetteville, the Family Medical Center and Psychiatric Research Institute in Springdale, and the Center for Children in Lowell. 4 Arkansas counties will soon be home to the state's first mental health crisis centers. Washington, Sebastian, Pulaski, and Craighead counties will house the alternatives to jail for low-level offenders with mental health issues. The original project only called for 3 locations, but Governor Asa Hutchinson received 4 crisis center applications and requested additional federal money to make them all happen.
Being able to recognize that and deal with that properly, that's how we divert people and keep them from going to jail and reoffending. That's so important.
4 years from now, Sebastian County Sheriff Bill Hollenbeck hopes to see a reduction in the prison population, which could encourage the state to start even more mental health units. They're the first people you talk to in an emergency, but they're often underappreciated. You may see police and firefighters out and about, but 911 dispatchers play a vital role in getting those first responders out the door. Fox 24's Alex Capriello shows us how in the most critical moments, you can expect one voice to guide you through the difficult times.
Greenville 911.
Chase Looney has been hit in the face with a firecracker. We need an ambulance ASAP.
Okay.
That's the sound of pure panic. On the other end, the calm and reassuring voice of dispatch.
Okay, I'm going to stay on the line with you as long as I can. Watch him very closely and look for changes. If he becomes less awake or starts getting worse, tell me immediately, okay?
Bentonville telecommunicator Stormy Matura was that comforting voice on the other end of disaster.
It's my job to try to calm down the situation so we can get them the best help possible in the fastest time possible.
Her skills were put to the test when a Bentonville firefighter was struck in the face with a firework on the 4th of July.
When it's somebody that you work with and you know personally, it's more than just a voice on a line. It's the people that you're trying to keep safe every day.
But not every call is on the verge of death. You can imagine Matura's emotions that time she helped bring a new life into the world.
Oh my gosh, this is a baby call. I'm super excited. And then it was, oh my gosh, this is happening really fast. I'm panicking. And then it was, oh my gosh, there's a baby. Now I'm crying.
That's right. Just days after the fireworks accident, Matura successfully talked a father through the home birth of his new baby girl.
As soon as the baby came out, he was so excited, and then when he heard her crying, you could hear him crying, and then I started crying, and it was a big ball fest, but it was amazing.
Matura was honored today at the Bentonville Police Department for her composure in handling those 2 difficult calls.
They're the start of emergency services. We don't know anything's happening or has happened until they tell us that it has happened. So yeah, they're the number one.
Whether it's helping successfully deliver a baby at home or providing life-saving instructions to a fellow first responder in need, Matura says that each call requires the same level of professionalism and poise.
Our emotions don't necessarily come until after the call, but we have to move on and be able to pick up the next call after a call like that happens.
So, in the event that you're in an emergency, you can expect Matura to guide you in the right direction.
At the end of the day, I get to go home and say, bad calls, good calls. I'm making a difference in somebody's life every day, and that is why I do this.
In Bentonville, Alex Capriello, Fox 24 News.
Last year, the Bentonville 911 dispatch team fielded nearly 127,000 distress calls. That means Matura and her team took on an average of 348 emergencies a day. It's been exactly 1 year since Sebastian County Sheriff's Deputy Bill Cooper lost his life in the line of duty. Corporal Cooper was shot and killed while responding to a disturbance call in Greenwood. Hackett Police Chief Darrell Spells was also shot and wounded. More than 2,800 people attended Corporal Cooper's funeral in Fort Smith. Today is a somber day for those who knew Corporal Cooper, but also a chance to reflect on his life and career.
We can't control everything. All we can control is ourselves and our own actions. And I think the actions that we need to have now is to go forward with Cooper's legacy.
Captain Phil Peavyhouse says Corporal Cooper showed the entire department what it's like to give yourself for somebody else. 36-year-old Bill Monroe Jones pleaded guilty and was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole for the murder of Corporal Cooper. Jones fired at least 60 rounds on the morning of August 10th, 2016. Including Corporal Cooper, Arkansas has lost a total of 293 law enforcement officers in the line of duty. 180 of those were killed by gunfire. The first was Saline County Sheriff's Deputy Gilbert Bird Birchfield. He was shot and killed on July 15th, 1847. Tomorrow morning, a bench will be dedicated in Corporal Bill Cooper's honor at Northside High School in Fort Smith, where he graduated from in 1968. During the shootout last year, Greenwood K-9 officer Keena was also shot and injured. She was officially retired by the City Council last month and placed in the care of her handler. Due to the generosity of the community and local businesses, Greenwood's police department has already raised enough money to purchase a replacement for Keena. It needed about $11,000 and has already cleared nearly $16,000.
Fully expected this to be a long fundraiser that would take us probably into the beginning of next year, just not knowing what kind of donations we would get.
With donations continuing to pour in, Fox 24 is told the department will use the extra money for its upcoming Christmas charity event for children in the River Valley. One of Arkansas's U.S. senators is headed back under the knife for a follow-up surgery. Senator John Boozman will undergo what he calls a tweak to an emergency surgical procedure he had on his heart in 2014. The 66-year-old suffered from a torn aorta. Doctors have encouraged Boozman for the past year and a half to get the surgery.
What I'm trying to do is do it along the Senate schedule, so I won't miss anything. I need to knock it out sometime. I've put it off for a year and a half, and so, it's something that I probably ought to go ahead and do.
Boozman said roughly 30% of the patients who undergo aortic surgeries end up needing a follow-up operation. Arkansas Attorney General Leslie Rutledge has a new role. She's now the chairman of the Republican Attorney Generals Association. West Virginia Attorney General Patrick Morsi will step down as chairman to focus on his duties in his home state. A new vice chairman will be chosen by the Attorney General at a later date. According to the CDC, Arkansas ranks 8th in the nation for prescriptions of opioid pain relievers. It's a growing problem here at home and across the country, and the White House is prepared to declare the opioid crisis as a national emergency. Fox 24's Mark Meredith shows us how experts say opioid problems could get worse, not better, over the next 2 years.
President Trump says it's the worst drug crisis he's ever seen.
You know, when I was growing up, they had the LSD and they had certain generations of drugs. There's never been anything like what's happened to this country over the last 4 or 5 years.
In 2015, 52,000 Americans died from drug overdoses, but the president's acting drug czar, Richard Baum, says even with all of the attention on opioids, the crisis may get worse before it gets better.
I don't see it peaking for another year or two, but that doesn't mean we should wait around.
President Trump says he's taking action.
We're going to draw it up, and we're going to make it a national emergency.
The White House is also considering a crackdown on doctors who overprescribe powerful painkillers.
So we absolutely want people to have help for pain, but we shouldn't be giving out these prescription drugs like candy.
Individual states are also targeting the medical industry. Attorneys general in Ohio and Missouri are suing drug companies that market opioids.
But the administration says this is not just a U.S. problem. The White House wants Congress to toughen the borders to make it harder for these drugs to come through. And they're coming from places you may not suspect.
We also welcome the Congress's help to control the import of packages from Asia that contain fentanyl and these other drugs. We know Congress is working on some legislation. We're talking to them as well.
Congress is considering a bill that would add billions of dollars to fight the epidemic. The White House says it plans to support that plan, but also push for more solutions this fall. At the White House, Mark Meredith, Fox 24 News.
Cave Springs plans to refund illegal collected money to property owners. The Benton County judge ruled the city collected over $240,000. No process for returning the money has been made yet. The city attorney says it could take months. He also says people can donate their refunds back to the city. Refunds will be handled by the city collector's office. Police are searching for a man that's wanted on several felony charges. 41-year-old Larry Harrelson was last seen driving into Springdale on Highway 71B. He's said to be driving a gold Honda Accord with the Oklahoma license plate reading AKB 130. Police say Harrelson is armed and dangerous and to not approach him. If you see him, call police. Police in Ozark, Missouri have found burned remains and boxes of bone fragments they say are related to a missing persons case from this month. 16-year-old Savannah Leckie went missing from Rebecca Hudd's home in late July. Hudd is Leckie's biological mother. Yesterday, police searched Rudd's property and found the bones along with 26 bottles of Lyle. It's used as a decomposing agent. No charges have been filed yet. The guards involved in the attempted takeover of the maximum security prison in Tucker have been identified. Willie Carmichael, Levester Johnson, and George Thomas were held hostage by prisoners for over 3 hours. A committee has been created to review what led to the safety breach during the attack. The prison is over capacity and understaffed. That's according to the Department of Corrections. A prisoner involved in an attack at the maximum security Tucker unit has died. 25-year-old John DeMort was taken to the unit for treatment back in July, though it's unclear what his injuries were. This morning, he was taken to an area hospital where he was pronounced dead. Arkansas State Police are investigating that death. Well, are you a bargain hunter or just digging for some antique treasures where you can find 160 miles of thrifty deals? Check that out. Plus,
when seconds count, as responders, we're minutes away.
Arkansas leads the nation in a life-saving form of training that saved a local sheriff's deputy from bleeding out. What you need to know. Dan.
We're gearing up for some thunderstorms that are developing to our northwest. They will be moving in most likely tonight. Just how much rain will we see after this storm system and multiple storm systems are all said and done with? We've got your Fox 20 forecast that we're showing you next.